Yeah, come on up. We'll get our partners and interns up here. Interns, maybe you can group yourselves.
Okay.
Get this going. Oh, yeah, don't be blinded. Don't be blinded. If our partners would like to join us, here we... Oh, thank you all. Super. Wonderful. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to our 2024 Urban Streams Stewardship Symposium. My name is Luke Westfall, and I work as the Urban Streamside Program Coordinator for the City of Salem Public Works. And we are really excited tonight to share about a variety of ways for streamside landowners and community members to get involved for healthy creeks in Salem. Just briefly, I wanted to express our thanks to everyone joining us here tonight, our community members, our landowners. We have representatives from our City of Salem staff from Public Works, and we also have representatives from our wonderful partner organizations, including at the end, we have Marion Soil Water Conservation District, we have Chelsea. Thanks, Chelsea. Yeah, I'm big on applause. We have Mark with the Polk Soil Water Conservation District. Thank you, Mark. We have Robin Dahlke with the City of Salem Floodplain Management Office. Hi, Robin. And then the four wonderful folks behind me were members of our 2023 Stream Crew Internship Program and will be speaking later tonight about some of their accomplishments for the Stream Crew in 2023. So thank you, Zach, Joe, Cade, and Hannah. And then to my left, we have Ken Beerley with the Glen Gibson Watershed Council in West Salem. Thanks, Ken. And last but never least, we have Mark and Jeff with the Claggett Creek Watershed Council working out of North Salem and Kaiser. So we want to say thanks to all of you for your time and energy to share information about your organizations and ways that you can help our community and landowners work on streams. So you're free to go, and I'll pull you up later as we get to each of you. Thank you so much. We also want to share our appreciation to the Salem Library for hosting this event and the Locks Auditorium. And a big, big thank you as well to our Salem Capital Community Media for recording this event, which will be available online both at our city website and YouTube links for the CCTV at a later time, so we can share it with others. So I think we've got a great agenda for you tonight. We're starting off sharing about streamside resources available through the City of Salem, and a brief presentation from our Stream Crew 2023 Stream Crew interns. Following this, we have a few local partners presenting about their organizations and resources that they offer. And then concluding tonight, staff from the City of Salem and our partners will be available at outreach booths out in the hallway lobby, making themselves available to interact with audience members and answer questions that you may have. So I think it's fair to say that Salem is a pretty special place in terms of our waterways and aquatic wildlife. Not only do we have Willamette River frontage, we have more than 90 miles of streams and tributaries within our city limits, making up about a dozen different watersheds that drain across all corners of town. Some of these streams, like Mill Creek, start from outside of city limits, while others drain entirely from within town. These streams also support a variety of cold water loving aquatic wildlife, including steelhead trout, Chinook salmon, lamprey eels, cutthroat trout, crawdads, dragonflies, and so much more. Every creek is unique in its combinations of land uses, landowners, habitat, and wildlife, and there's always something new to see when visiting a stream with a landowner for the first time. So one of our focuses for promoting healthy streams in Salem is working to improve the amount and diversity of native vegetation growing in the areas alongside our streams. This is also known as our riparian buffers. So in these riparian buffers, a lot of work centers around promoting efforts to control invasive weeds and replace those weeds with a diversity of native trees, shrubs, and ground covers. These native plants provide essential benefits for our streams as well as our streamside community members. So in particular, these plants play a key role in stabilizing our stream banks and reducing soil erosion. And this is thanks to the roots and leaf canopies that these native plants grow. If you've ever gone to a nursery and bought a container potted plant and pulled the plant out of that pot and had that soil stay fully intact, that's a pretty good demonstration of a native plant's ability to hold soil, bind soil together, and it can help improve bank stability when you plant native vegetation along your waterway. These native plants also play a key part of our aquatic food chain and support a variety of fish and wildlife species. And lastly, these native plants are growing a vital canopy of shade over the stream to help cool summer stream temperatures for our native fish and aquatic critters which thrive best in colder waters. So these are all major benefits that these native plants provide for us in our streamsides for free if we can just plant more native vegetation by our creeks and work to help those plants grow. So one of the ways that we involve our local community in improving riparian buffers is by hosting streamside volunteer work parties. These events are done in partnership with the nonprofit Friends of Trees. They are a great way to get outside, have some fun, learn how to plant native species, control common invasive weeds. Last year, we hosted 3 streamside events, engaged 166 volunteers in more than 600 hours of service. And with all that work, we planted 1,600 native plants, including trees and shrubs, along our streamsides. For those interested, Friends of Trees also offers an annual training in the fall for those who would like to become group leaders for these events, which is a really fun experience. We actually have a work party coming up. It's the last of this current season. It's this weekend, Saturday, March 16th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. in West Salem at Orchard Heights Park. We'll be planting native bare root trees and shrubs along Glen Creek in the park. You can learn more and sign up online at friendsoftrees.org/Salem. Now, for streamside landowners, one of the primary educational tools that we provide to promote healthy creeks and riparian buffers is an annual mailer to streamside landowners. Whether you've lived along a stream in town for decades or just recently moved to a streamside for the first time, these annual mailers provide a ton of information about living along a local creek in Salem. It has information about who to contact for stream-related questions, updates and reminders about relevant streamside city codes, things like requirements for preserving trees and native vegetation along streamsides, as well as information about agencies that regulate removal fill of streamside materials and development along waterways and floodplains, and so much more. Our printed copies, some of you might be here tonight after receiving a printed copy in the mail recently. If you would like to receive these mailers, these annual mailers through email, come visit us after the presentations and during the outreach booth sessions. We can get you subscribed to our email list. And the sign-in sheet for tonight, if you haven't signed that already, please do so by the end of tonight. And there's even an option there if you'd like to put your email. That'll subscribe you to our Clean Streams emails as well, which include the annual mailer. So to help encourage streamside landowners to grow native vegetation along their riparian buffers, the city offers free native plants for streamside properties every year. We typically have more than 100 streamside landowners participate each year, which is about 5% of our annual streamside mailer address list. And we give away more than 500 native trees and shrubs every year to plant within 50 feet of your stream. We recently switched to a fall container giveaway program. So streamside landowners should expect to see a late summer postcard in your home mailbox about requesting plant orders. Or again, we'll plug it. If you'd like to receive these via email, sign up for our Clean Streams email list and come talk to us at the end. So for streamside landowners and organizations who have needs that are greater than our free tree program can tackle, we operate a competitive grant program budgeted up to $50,000 per fiscal year to assist with the costs of a variety of on-the-ground restoration projects as well as education and outreach projects. An example of a smaller grant application request might be you could apply for a few $100s to help with the costs of planting some native vegetation along your creek. Maybe up from that, you could apply for a few $1,000s to help with the costs for controlling some invasive weeds, replacing them with native vegetation, and maybe even installing some erosion control netting. As shown here on the larger end, these grants have also been used to fund more complex or expensive stream bank erosion control projects. The photo here is of Claggett Creek in 2020, where a severely eroded bank was transformed into an eco-friendly wall of bioengineered soil bags planted throughout with native species. And those native species, the intent is for them to grow their roots, for the native species to grow their roots, and the roots would provide long-term bank stability. So this project is an example of a more severe case of erosion, and this project required permits from local, state, and federal agencies, as well as engineering and design in order to fund and construct. I wanted to share as well, we are accepting applications for our Watershed Protection and Preservation Grant Program. Don't hesitate to get started learning more. You're welcome to invite me out to visit your creek, and I'd be happy to look at a potential project area with you, so don't wait. This is an exciting development for us. To better understand our existing stream shade along our creeks, the city recently completed an updated inventory of stream shade using modeled tree canopy data from 2018. This data set shown here, the darker colors showing greater shade existing and lighter colors showing less shade existing. This data set will help us to identify areas of opportunity to improve stream shade by planting native vegetation and controlling invasive weeds within the riparian buffer. So some stream shade opportunity areas are already being improved, such as this little inset at the bottom here of McKay Park, where we've been hosting volunteer planting events in recent years to improve that shade canopy. In the coming year, we'll be working on rolling out a streamside buffer program to provide streamside landowners with outreach materials, landowner workshops and education events, and other tools and resources to help streamside landowners assess and improve the health of their riparian buffer. And hopefully we'll have a program as well to recognize those landowners who are taking action to improve their streamside habitat. So if any landowners have interest in, providing feedback or brainstorming what kind of components you'd like to have in a backyard buffer program and resources that you would need in order to be successful in your backyard, please reach out to me. We're also interested in looking for landowners who might be interested to do a pilot phase for doing some of these practices and outreach opportunities together. So please don't hesitate to reach out about this. So, in addition to trying to get more native plants growing along the streams, we're also actively working to remove one particularly destructive invasive weed from Salem streamsides. And this is a species of invasive shrubs called knotweeds. So while many different invasive weeds, such as invasive blackberry or English ivy, also impact our stream sides and can prevent native plants from establishing, knotweeds are uniquely impactful to our stream sides, and this is in part due to their ability to damage infrastructure and property, as these knotweeds can actually grow up through hard surfaces, things like pavement, retaining walls, and even foundations. Knotweeds are also more resilient to manual treatments as compared to other weeds, such as invasive blackberry. They can survive mowing and digging. And in fact, these manual treatments can often worsen infestations as small fragments of root left in the ground or cane left on the top of the soil that are left behind can each grow new knotweed plants. These manual treatments can also spread infestations by stimulating the root system to spread further in your soil. So because of these impacts that knotweeds can have for habitat and infrastructure, and its resilience to and ability to spread from manual treatments, is identified as a high priority weed for surveying and offering a free treatment program for our streamside landowners. Summertime is the best time to look for knotweeds, and you'll hear in our stream crew report in a little later about the intern crew's work to survey for knotweed while they're walking in the creeks. We send an annual outreach letter to landowners where we have identified streamside knotweed on their property, and this annual outreach letter goes out in the summer, and we invite those streamside landowners to enroll in a program for free treatment of their knotweed, and treatment typically occurs in the fall. So if you think you have knotweed on your property, please reach out to me for a site visit. Don't hesitate to send me photos over email if you have plants that you're concerned might be knotweed. We can go from there. So in addition to caring for our stream sides' native vegetation, the city also keeps a close eye on the quality of the water in our streams, and it operates a robust water quality monitoring program. So our staff monitors for a variety of water quality pollutants, such as temperature and dissolved oxygen, which are important for our aquatic wildlife, E. coli bacteria, which can impact recreational uses, as well as certain heavy metals like copper, lead, zinc, and more recently mercury. We have different types of monitoring, timing and purposes, such as monitoring during the first storm events to characterize pollutants that have built up during the dry weather and wash into the creeks during rains. We also conduct monthly in-stream monitoring, which has a data set going back to 2001, and that provides data for long-term trend analysis. And we also even have in-stream continuous monitoring stations that help us to evaluate creek health in real time, 15-minute increments, intervals. And what this allows us to do is we can detect and be alerted to potential abnormalities that could be caused by illicit discharges, such as construction runoff or dumping of prohibited materials in the creek. We're also very fortunate to have an amazing 24/7 Public Works dispatch team that you can contact if you observe any stream-related issues or concerns in your backyard creek or even around town. Maybe you see the creek has a weird color or an odor or things are floating down it. Please let dispatch know so our environmental services team can respond and try to track down the source of potential illicit discharges. Maybe a tree has fallen into the creek and is blocking flows. Please let dispatch know and we can have field operations and maintenance staff go and inspect. Whatever it may be, those concerns can be routed through our dispatch. You can call 503-588-6311. There's an email, pwdispatch@cityofsalem.net. And at the end, if you go to the city's outreach booth in the hallway lobby, we even have pens that have the dispatch number written on them. So I always give those out. Thank you to Stacy for bringing those and setting up our booth. Oh, I'll invite Robin Dahlke with our floodplain management office to come up and share a little bit about flood hazard preparedness. Thanks, Robin.
Hi, good evening again. So as Luke said, I'm Robin Dahlke with the Community Planning Development Department, but I am formerly Public Works, and I've been our floodplain administrator for a few years. When I entered into the flood management program in 2008, there really wasn't a lot of partnership that I saw with the Clean Streams Initiative. We had just entered into what's called the Community Rating System program. That's a FEMA program, a voluntary program that incentivizes communities to increase their flood risk programs and flood management programs, incentivizes them by providing a flood insurance discount on premiums. And we have grown a lot since we entered into that program in 2007. We just were issued a Class 3 classification or rating in that program that gives community, anyone in Salem with property owners, renters, a 35% discount on flood insurance premiums. And a big part of that program is our stream maintenance, stream crews, operations work on inspections of facilities, a lot of the community outreach that they do. And so I've really liked to see this partnership that we've formed with the Clean Streams Initiative and stormwater operations groups, because I used to, in my former role, just look through development permits day in and day out and look at development in the floodplain, but there's clearly more to that, to keeping our streams clean and healthy. And so seeing that partnership grow has been a really great thing, at least from my perspective, to marry those two events, because they're so important. And one of those cool things that we've accomplished is collaborating on our outreach. And so in the streamside mailer, you probably saw some resources for flood hazard preparedness. That would be the office that I work in, the city's floodplain management office. So, on the ground, or if you're seeing neighbors working on things that are kind of questionable, there then lies the role as the floodplain manager to look at what permitting requirements we have and stay on top of kind of illicit activities to keep our streams clean, clear, and flowing for conveyance. So I'll pass it back over to Luke.
Thank you, Robin. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Robin. And it's wonderful to learn about the resources available for floodplain management. All right, we're kicking into gear. So this is about 10 minutes or so of our 2023 annual summer stream crew internship program. So with more than 90 miles of urban streams to care for in the city, we can't do everything with just our permanent staff. And that's where our seasonal summer stream crew interns come into play. And they help us keep our waterways clean and healthy for our community members and the wildlife that call Salem home. So the Stream Crew program began in 1998 in response to the 1996 historic flood that washed across the city of Salem and across the greater Willamette Valley. This 100-year flood event caused evacuations of thousands of Oregon residents from their homes and more than $500 million in damages across the Pacific Northwest. So the first few years of the Stream Crew program were focused almost exclusively on trash removal and flood hazard debris removal. And those activities were led by operations and maintenance staff, including adults in custody work crews. So in 2003, the program transitioned to a college internship crew to engage students with natural resource backgrounds, and it also included an expanded scope of the crew's work to inspect stream conditions and stream habitat while performing their trash and flood hazard debris removal duties. So what we like to say is for the last 2 decades of the internship program, these interns have really served as the eyes and ears for our local streams. So in addition to being a direct benefit to the health of our community's waterways, the internship program helps us to meet requirements for stormwater pollution control and prevention, and that's under our Oregon Department of Environmental Quality MS4 stormwater permit. And the Stream Crew program also helps meet requirements for the city's participation in the FEMA National Flood Insurance Community Rating System, which Robin mentioned, which helps to reduce flood insurance premiums among many other benefits. And this is a voluntary program. Our participation is voluntary. So to meet these requirements, these permits and program requirements, the Stream Crew inspects and removes trash and flood hazards from a total of 60 miles of urban waterway, which is about 2/3 of our total 90 miles in Salem. Over the last decade, the Stream Crew has taken advantage of new technology for GPS-based field data collection and management. So what that means is the crew can now collect GPS data points with corresponding photos and field notes to document a wide variety of stream conditions and observations. This data is used by the crew and other public works staff for responding to the issues identified, as well as tracking changes over time. While the crew is documenting the conditions of the streams, they're also tasked with removing trash that is carried into the waterways every year through littering and dumping. Trash removal is a physically demanding task and requires a keen sense of safety and awareness to navigate the terrain of the streams and inspect the materials found for potential safety hazards. In addition to removing trash, the Stream Crew documents and removes woody debris when they're identified to be potential hazards for flooding or damage to infrastructure. Staff and the Stream Crew will work diligently to balance the importance of having woody debris in the channel for habitat and stream health while protecting public safety and preventing flood hazards. So some locations, like those shown here, such as near culverts and bridges, are not as suitable for leaving woody debris for habitat, as they're more likely to accumulate additional debris and can pose potential flood hazard concerns. Here is an example of a flood hazard debris removal upstream of a culvert on Clark Creek. The culvert inlet was obstructed by weeds and woody debris. The crew works to reopen a path for flow by removing debris and weeds while preserving streamside native vegetation that provides essential shade and stream bank erosion control. And here is an example of a large piece of woody debris that was identified and assessed by the crew along Pringle Creek. While inspecting this debris, the crew looked at a variety of factors to determine potential maintenance or removal needs, and that includes reviewing maps of flood inundation models, known flood concern locations, assessing if the wood was secured in place or likely to move, looking at whether the log had already accumulated debris or if the shape and location of the log would have the potential to catch debris in the future. Ultimately, it was determined this piece of wood was a low risk for flood hazard and was providing a variety of important habitat benefits, including the creation of a scour pool on the downstream end, which our aquatic critters can use for cover and cooler water, as well as slowing water down on the upstream side just enough to deposit sediment and gravel and make a little sediment gravel bar, which provides aquatic habitat for fish and macroinvertebrates to lay eggs, find food, find cover. At this time, I'll invite our Stream Crew interns up. Zach, do you want to start us off? Zach.
All right. Hello, everyone. So this is a summary review of highlights from the 2023 Stream Crew season, broken down by the main watersheds in Salem, and the next two slides will put these into historical context. This year, nearly 42,000 pounds of trash were removed from the streams. As is typical in many years, Mill Creek and Shelton Ditch together made up most of the trash weight removed, totaling more than 20,000 pounds and accounting for almost half of the season's trash. Claggett Creek made up the second most weight at 15,000 pounds and 35% of the total trash this year, with most of this coming from locations that could not be cleaned in recent years due to unhoused presence. Here is a historic graph of the trash removed since 1998. There are a lot of variables that can affect the trash totals in a season. In the early years, trash and debris were often commingled during disposal, so these higher numbers may likely reflect the weight of those debris disposed with the trash. In the late 2000s, we made an effort to recycle as much materials as possible. However, later on, these recyclables were no longer accepted as the materials were too soiled by mud and biofilms from the stream to meet increasing standards for clean materials for recycling. From 2009 to 2020, we saw a general trend of reducing trash levels. However, this has risen since 2021, and we are hopeful to see a decline return in the coming years. For historical context of flood hazard debris removals, here you can see a chart of total cubic yards removed over the lifetime of the Stream Crew program back to 1998. The amount of debris removed each season can vary based on the storm seasons and changes in the Stream Crew program. Here you can see an uptick in 2012, which likely reflects the major flood events that occurred the winter storm season leading up to that summer. And in 2021, you can see an increase, likely due to the major ice storm that brought a lot of trees and branches down. In 2022 and 2023 seasons, we dedicated a lot of additional staff and crew time to review the debris jam data collected and to visit priority sites in an effort to identify debris that can be left to provide stream habitat benefits with minimal risk for flood hazards. All right.
Alrighty, my name is Hannah, and we're talking about beaver activity. So one of the benefits of Stream Crew's data collection is the ability to monitor locations of beaver activity over time. Beaver populations across Oregon and the Willamette Valley have rebounded in recent decades as historic fur trading has greatly reduced their numbers. Beaver provide a number of important benefits to our streams for slowing down stormwater and creating diverse stream habitats. As these important wildlife species continue to resettle in our urban environment, the City of Salem is developing outreach materials and management strategy to help identify different types of coexisting with beavers. More information can be found online at cityofsalem.net/beaver, including methods of protecting plant from beaver chew, such as fencing around trees, which is shown in the picture here. And then this is a map of all the beaver activity we found. And then on the far right or left on your side is a beaver dam. And then we also, in 2023, the crew collected a new data set for our streams focused on documenting locations of Oregon ash trees along our waterways. Ash trees are susceptible, sorry guys, susceptible to infestation from an invasive pest called emerald ash borer. Shown here is a penny for reference in size. The emerald ash borer has been making its way across the U.S. for decades and was observed in Oregon for the first time in 2022 in Forest Grove. The City of Salem is currently monitoring the emerald ash borer and is working on a plan to responding to the arrival of this aggressive tree pest in order to slow its spread and preserve Salem's tree canopy. If you have an ash tree on your property, you can protect from this pest by keeping them healthy, including not pruning during the peak ash borer season, which is April through October, and reducing ash tree stress during the summer by watering and mulching. And to identify a ash tree, you can see that the leaflets are found on opposite sides, and the bark makes a diamond shape. And then invasive weeds is also something that the Stream Crew collects. So here we have knotweed and yellow flag iris. So knotweed quickly displaces native vegetation and can cause damage to infrastructure and property. The city offers a program that landowners can enroll in for tree treatments for streamside knotweed infestations. These infestations are mostly found in Croissant, Pringle, and Clark Creek stream signs at the moment. One of the highlights for knotweed this year was the Stream Crew documented the first ever knotweed sightings in Little Pudding River in northeast Salem. With our annual knotweed outreach mailer, we were able to enroll those landowners in our free treatment program to start controlling the infestations right away before knotweed can spread throughout Little Pudding River. And I'm going to pass it on to the next person.
Hi, I'm Joe Brooks. I was on the intern stream crew last year. Intern on the stream crew. I was fortunate enough to get hired on full-time as a stormwater monitoring technician, where I get to do all this fun stuff every day now. A big thing that the stream crew was able to do to help the city of Salem meet its water quality monitoring goals was to inspect all the flowing outfalls that it encountered along all those stream miles. Of course, outfalls are where all the rainwater is discharged into the streams from roadways and buildings. And since the stream crew is active during the summer, there's not really any rain, there really shouldn't be any water coming out of those outfalls. So whenever there is flowing water, it warrants inspection. So whenever the stream crew comes across a flowing outfall, we would, of course, mark it in our phone maps, and then we do a quick inspection on it. What we're looking for is any sort of pollutants, any material in that flowing water, discoloration, of course, odors. Hopefully there's not any sewer smells in there. And then we also do a quick chlorine test, as we see here, but that's going to help us identify as whether or not that's probably a drinking water leak. So thankfully, most of the flowing outfalls that we ran across were actually groundwater just leaking into the stormwater system, and that's perfectly natural. That's okay. We also ran across some high chlorine hits, indicating that we had some drinking water leaks. Not really a big deal. Again, that's pretty clean water. But if there's a big enough flow, we're also looking at how much water is coming out of there. So if there's a big flow and it's drinking water, then we're gonna notify somebody, and hopefully they can fix that leak so we have more drinking water. Unfortunately, in the past, we have had instances where sewer lines have been crossed into our stormwater system, and that's letting sewage into the streams. And so that would get, of course, reported immediately to our dispatch, and they would send that environmental services team out to correct that problem. And we're also looking for illicit discharges. So if we're seeing oils or just weird materials in the water, like that milky discharge that Luke mentioned earlier, that can be caused by individuals or businesses putting things down the drain that should not be going down the drain. So again, our environmental services team is called up, and they're able to go out and hopefully find where that problem's coming from and fix it. Another thing the stream crew is looking for while we're out there logging those stream miles is code compliance issues. So what we have here are a lot of environmental related compliance issues. Of course, water pumps in the streams, that's not allowed. That's taking away vital water from our habitat. And of course, we're having seemingly drier and drier years, so we need all the water we can get. We also run into and look for vegetation removal, and that's, we need all that riparian buffer there to help provide good environment for our streams, provide shade, and that also in turn increases water quality. And then last, we're looking for any illegal dumping. Unfortunately, a lot of Salem's waterways are very secluded and provide an ideal environment for people looking to illegally get rid of their things they don't want anymore. And since the stream crew's in there and they're in all those little nooks and crannies, we were able to, hopefully identify those places where there's been illegal dumping and get those cleaned out before the next big rain comes and washes everything into our streams. Another code compliance issue we look for are fences crossing streams. In addition to making it really hard to inspect the streams, because then we have to look for ways to get around, they're also really good at catching all this debris, and then this becomes a really big flood hazard. As you can see, this fence has caught a significant amount of debris. And in this particular instance, this is on Clark Creek right by Gilmore Field, and that's a really good, that's designed to catch a lot of water. So when you have it dammed up above the field, that area above it is going to catch all that water instead, and that can cause potential property damage. It can also cause erosion issues as that water works its way around that debris jam and erodes into the stream side. So in short, fences built across streams, that's typically prohibited very limited circumstances in which that would be okay. And I think that's it.
Hello everyone, my name is Cade and I'll be going over the streamside native planning project. So when the crew has time available at the end of the summer work season, they can complete a streamside native planting project where the crew will manually remove weeds along a stream and replant them with native vegetation. For 2023, the crew conducted a planting project on 175 linear feet of streamside along the West Fork Pringle Creek, this including a mix of private and city-owned streamside. The crew manually removed 7 cubic yards of invasive reed, canary grass, blackberry, and English ivy while preserving existing native vegetation. The crew then planted the area with more than 147 native plants, including trees and shrubs. The stream crew will monitor this project annually and perform maintenance for the city-owned portion of the project area. So the city will be hiring again this spring for our 2024 summer spring crew. The job posting will occur around April online at www.cityofsalem.net/jobs. And you can connect with us in the lobby after the presentations if you'd like to sign up for our stream crew job posting email list. The crew's main work season runs late June, early July through September, October, and there is potential for interning up to 6 months total if work is available. The position is an excellent opportunity for current and recently graduated college students within the last 6 months and the natural resources and related sciences to gain on the ground field experience walking urban streams in the Salem to remove trash, debris, and invasive weeds. The stream crew is a rewarding and physically challenging internship that has helped prepare many former stream crew members for careers in environmental and natural resource management, such as 2022-2023 stream crew intern Zach, who graduated from OSU in ecological engineering and is now working as an engineering technician with the city of Corvallis, and 2023 stream crew intern Joe, who graduated from Western Oregon University in earth science, who is now working as a stream water quality monitoring technician with the city of Salem.
Good job. Let's give a big hand to our stream crew. I just have to hand it to our crew every year. It's amazing what they accomplish. It's a lot of physical feats of strength, mental feats of troubleshooting, coordination, and problem solving. So you guys do an amazing job, and we're always grateful for you. Thank you. Wonderful. Okay, well, let's get to our partners. So we have Marion Soil Water Conservation District up first, and Chelsea will be joining us. I'll get your website. Okay, Chelsea. So it's this one and that.
Perfect, thank
And
you.
you kind of have to look at it up there.
Okay, that works. Hi, everyone. Oh, here, I'll speak into the microphone. Hopefully you can hear me better. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Luke. Thank you for City of Salem for having us as a partner. We are so excited to be here, and we're always excited to be a partner with City of Salem in any conservation project and goal, especially riparian waterways. So I'm always impressed to hear about the amazing work that the stream crew does in Salem and in the watershed area and improving our riparian areas. So my name is Chelsea Blank, and my pronouns are she, her, and I'm the Natural Areas Conservation Planner for Marion Soil and Water Conservation District. So I'm going to do a little bit different presentation for you. I don't have a PowerPoint. Instead, I'm going to show you our fancy website that we have up and running. I feel like a lot of presentations and advice that we give can end in, you can find this on our website. So I just think it's easier for me to show you where you can find it on the website. We have so much information on here, sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming, exciting, but overwhelming. So yeah, I think it's just kind of fun to go through all of the different things that we offer and provide for you together. The top one, okay, perfect. So as you can see, this is our home page. We recently, about a year ago, kind of did a whole makeover of our website. So now it's always updated, and we have tons of resources on here for you to explore and learn from. We have a search bar here. This is kind of just where we keep our updates, our news, our events that are upcoming. As you can see, we feature blog posts, featured stories. Anybody can write a blog post. I will talk about that a little bit more later, but this is kind of where you'll see updates. And so you might be wondering, what is a soil and water conservation district? How many of you have heard of your local soil and water conservation district? Oh, a lot of you. Okay, that's actually really surprising. That's awesome. Okay, good. I don't have to go into the whole history of the Dust Bowl. Perfect. Okay, well, here you can learn a little bit of the local history background about soil and water conservation districts. I'll show you the page for our team. So here's our staff. So the Soil and Water Conservation District is a special district, which is a local branch of government that has been created for a specific purpose. Our purpose is conservation of natural resources, specifically soil, water, and also native plants, control of invasive plants, and wildlife habitat. So we have expanded our breadth of what we can provide and offer to folks, not just soil and water anymore. So this is where you can find more information about our staff. We have a full team now, which is really exciting. As I mentioned, I'm the Natural Areas Conservation Planner. I am one of 4 conservation planners that are available to you to use. So we have 2 agriculture conservation planners as well as an urban conservation planner. So you can find out more information about all of us on this page. We also have a native and invasive plant specialist. If you have any questions about identifying plants on your property or in a park, you're concerned about maybe a knotweed, you can feel free to send in pictures to us, and we can try to help you identify that plant as well. So yeah, you can learn a little bit more about us. You can figure out who to contact about your specific need, a little bit more about who we are. This is just kind of our past plans and reports, our partners, meeting minutes that we make public. So this is kind of how you can learn a little bit more about the district itself. But let's get into the fun stuff, what we offer. So over here you'll see we have a yearly plant sale, and we actually have expanded this to 2 plant sales per year. So we actually participated in a bulb and seed plant sale. I think it was actually held here in October. And so that was the first time that we did a bulb sale, as in addition to our bare root and potted plant sale that we hold annually in the first weekend of March. So we did just have our sale and it ended, but next year, be sure to get your plant orders in online. So we do most of our orders online through the website. You can search through our plant sale catalog, choose what plants are best for your property, learn a little bit more about the plants, and then you can also purchase plants the day of at the plant sale. And all of the funds from the plant sale go to our scholarship that we offer for students. So we also have a bit of information about consultation and planning if you want to learn about why a conservation plan might be beneficial to you and your property. Oh, yeah, sorry, I scrolled down too far. Okay. And then grants and funding. So one of the great things about Marion Soil and Water Conservation District is we are able to provide financial assistance in addition to technical assistance for any conservation concern or goal. So kind of the bread and butter of our operations is we are here to provide you with education, resources, technical assistance on your property for free. And then we also have this plethora of grant programs that we can provide. So we have a conservation assistance grant, which is a cost share reimbursement program. And this covers a whole spectrum of conservation projects, as long as it can address a conservation problem and that you have a solution to. So often we get folks who are interested in controlling invasive species, planting native species on their property who apply for this grant. And here's more information about that. We also have our new partner grant that we have just launched this year. The first application was this February, and that is something that we're offering to organizations, nonprofits, tribes in the area who want to expand their capacity and their ability to implement conservation projects. So we're really excited about that. And then we also have some educational grants as well. If you are interested in getting some signage to promote education about a conservation project that you have completed, we have options for that too. This would be our Conservation Learning Education and Resource Grant Program. And then we also have a cover crop assistance grant if anyone is interested in getting some cover crops in their fields. And then we have special project grant, which is for innovative technology to address a resource concern that may become more widely used, but is currently not the standard or the norm of how to address a problem. And then we also are able to apply for Oregon Watershed Enhancement Board grants. So that's kind of just a general overview of our grant programs. I encourage you to look through this, and if you are interested, you can reach out to any of the planners to learn more about how to apply. And so here we also provide adult and youth education for multiple different topics. So specifically, we have ag conservation education, so mud and manure. We loan out program bins. If you work in a school or educational program at all and you want to have an interactive activity for your students to learn from, you can feel free to check out this site, and I'll show you kind of our different options for that, and you can request a bin. So we have a bunch of different fun options for that. And then we also host Salmon Watch field trips every year. This is a really, really fun part of this job because we get to hang out on the river, the North Santiam River, in September and watch salmon spawning with students and teach them about it, and it's really exciting. We also encourage folks to volunteer if any of you want to get involved. We are always accepting volunteers for both our native plant sale and our Salmon Watch activities. And let's see. So a couple of other ways that we provide education for folks is our First Friday webinars. So this is, we host a webinar every first Friday of the month at 12 o'clock, 12 noon to 1. And we usually bring in a partner who is a professional or expert in a certain topic that we want to learn more about, and folks can tune in, ask questions, hear what they have to say from the expert. So that's every first Friday of the month. We also do Conservation Club, which is a relatively new program, and that's our in-person workshops and tours that we host, typically in the spring and summer when it's nicer weather out and it's more fun to be outside in the fields. And a lot of times we'll go tour a site that has a successfully completed conservation project, or has maybe a new innovative conservation method that they're implementing that folks want to learn about. We actually hosted our recent Conservation Club event last year at a City of Salem site where we helped implement a conservation project for Oregon white oak restoration. And so we will be hosting more of those tours coming this spring. And then Conservation Spotlight is a radio segment that we host on KMUZ. We actually share that radio segment with Polk SWCD, so I encourage you to listen on the third Wednesday of every month on Willamette Wake Up. And then we also have a really helpful plant database and conservation directory. This is actually something that we get questions a lot about, is just questions about certain types of plants that people are unfamiliar with. And so we encourage you to explore in our plant database, search up any type of native or invasive species that you might find in your property, and you can learn about the different characteristics, management techniques, conditions that they prefer, and what they can provide for wildlife. And then our conservation directory is really handy if you actually want to implement a conservation project and you don't know where to start in terms of getting help. And so here you can search for different contractors local in the area. If you don't know where to purchase native plants, you can look up native plant nurseries in the area. And so we're still building it out, but we invite businesses to add their information on this site so that we can make it available to everyone. So that's a really helpful tool as well. And then something that you might be excited about, we also launched our new program this year called Little Habitat Project, and I wish Cassie, who was really the champion of this project, was here to tell you about it, but unfortunately she couldn't be. But we're all really excited to be offering a Little Habitat Project, which is our version of the Backyard Habitat Certification Program in Portland, which a lot of people are familiar with, and we didn't have anything like that here, but now we do. So if you're interested in getting your yard certified, and you can earn this lovely image on a sign that you can post in your yard to prove to all your neighbors that you are a conservation hero, you are welcome to enroll in the program, and we provide a ton of educational resources for you to learn about how to enhance and improve your habitat even more. So this is a really fun process that we have, and yeah, here's where you can enroll. And I also have brought some of these checklists, paper copies, that you are welcome to grab from my booth after the presentations, so that you can learn a little bit more about how to get enrolled with that. And let's see, I don't want to take up too much time, but the natural resources, this is just a great way to learn about all the different plants, wildlife habitats that we have in the Willamette Valley. So this is just where you can find additional education. And then this is kind of addressing some of the more technical policy things that might relate to you as landowners or land managers that you might need to know about, so water rights, things like that. But here's what I kind of wanted to show you, ways to engage. So you're welcome to subscribe to get updates and get news from us. And then we also have this blog that is really active, and we always encourage folks to reach out to us if they have a certain project or topic that they want to share with your community, especially if it's one that you've completed yourself on your project. We really want to highlight folks who are active in conservation in our community. So we really encourage you to reach out to us and post a blog and brag about your successes. And it's also a great way to just learn from other community members about what's going on in the area. And like I said, there's ways to volunteer. We have our events calendar here if you want to join any of our educational or volunteer events at all. And I think that is our website for you. And this is kind of what we offer in a little short, compact package for you. But yeah, I won't take up too much more time, but please feel free to reach out to us and me. I will be at the booth in the back, and I have some resources that you can feel free to come and grab if you want some additional education and handouts, things to take home with you. And please always feel free to reach out to us with any of your conservation concerns or goals, and we'll be excited to help you.
Thank you so much, Chelsea. The city partners a lot with Marion Soil Water Conservation District. We invite them out to site visits when landowners are interested to learn about grants and resources they offer on the Marion County side of town. And for the West Salem side of town, we have Mark joining us for the Polk Soil Water Conservation District. And Mark, you're ready to go. Thank you, Mark.
And now back to the slides. So again, Mark Bell from the Polk Soil and Water Conservation District. We are just on the other side of the river. We are, just like the Marion SWCD, charged with helping folks in the county with the wise use of their natural resources. Many of our programs are similar, many of our offerings are similar, but Say the SWCDs are broken up so that they can tailor for each of their community needs, so they'll all look a little bit different. And I was trying to think of something that would be really helpful for, say, folks who'd be showing up for the city of Salem, say centric here a little bit more than than some of our ag programs. And I wanted to start with this. Which is the absolute most complicated slide I have. I promise it gets so much easier from here. But just to start off with, what these 4 graphs are showing are how much sediment, pesticides, nitrogen, and then phosphorus here can enter a stream if it's not buffered by vegetation, as say waste, as stormwater runoff, as all of that water flows towards the river. A vegetated buffer can help reduce all of those things actually entering the stream. On each of the graphs, right at the 10 line there, that's 10 meters or 35 feet in American. At all of those points, about 90% of that measurable runoff is being prevented from entering the actual flowing waterway. Now, agricultural producers often have the ability to create a buffer of about 35 feet wide, but, urban land managers are really likely to be limited to something much less in almost all cases. So the reason why I wanted to show you this is that every little bit that you can give up to a vegetated buffer, if you have streams on your property or on somewhere that you manage, every bit that you can get closer to 35 feet significantly improves the recapturing of that sediment, nutrients, and chemicals before it gets into the flowing waterway. So every little bit that you can do absolutely will have a strong effect. And this is also a good time to point out that impermeable surfaces, concrete, asphalt, all of that stuff, that is just moving the runoff water without letting any percolation happen. So anything you can do to get rid of that on the water's way into before it actually gets to the creek would be fantastic. All right, so like I said, gets a lot easier from there. So what I wanted to do to show you today is how to use one of the same tools that I use professionally, have used for years. I think that it's a tool that landowners and land managers can really learn easily and can be used to, as just trains your eye to evaluate riparian areas on your own property, wherever you go. The principles evaluating in this guide are universal. So urban, agricultural, wherever this will work. This was developed by the NRCS, the Natural Resource Conservation Service, and they call it the Stream Visual Assessment Protocol, version 2. The key word here is visual. And, the only specialized equipment you will need will be your eyes to look around and maybe something to actually write down a couple of, scores on if you want to. Up here is a link to a PDF that gives the full set of instructions, the evaluation worksheets, and gets into everything into significantly more detail. Now, again, this is a national, a nationally applicable protocol, so you can do it wherever you want. It counts for coastal marshes, urban, rocky mountains, wherever else, developed agriculture land. But some states do have a slightly more specific version, for their scoring, criterias. Oregon does have one, but not all states do. But in any case, that link will send you to the national one, which is equally applicable across the board. Now, what you do see here is the score sheet that you end up using. You simply score every category from 0 to 10, 0 being the worst, 10 being the best for each of those items. And the tool ultimately gives you an overall score, from 1 to 10 of, severely degraded to excellent, but with the element scores, you can really zero in quickly on what parts of the stream are either, say, doing well, or what parts, really need the most improvement. One of the example criterias, this is element number 5 on that scoring sheet, is riparian area habitat quality. It's really a holistic overall measurement of the quality of the habitat. You'll notice on this one, it also splits up the right bank and the left bank, because depending on what type of creek you're on or what situation you're in, those can be radically different, or also potentially not under your control. Could be the next property's over, things like that. So management choices of what's going on either side could be radically different as well too. So just adds in a little bit of that extra specificity here. But really, you're just looking at, for either the right bank or the left bank, you're scoring it 0, it's terrible, or 10, it's amazing. In this case, it it'll show you between 0 and 2, little to no vegetation, nothing really covering it. On 10 on the other scale, you've got natural and diverse riparian vegetation with composition and density and age structure that's diverse. So it's asking you some fairly complex questions, but it is something that is easy to, once you stand around and look around for a minute or two and kind of look at, kind of internalize what these questions are, what these scoring criteria are saying, you can come up with an answer that is, that's accurate for you and internally consistent with your own measurement system, and you can apply it, as you go and compare places in an objective fashion while still not necessarily actually doing any real math. So in this case, just kind of think about whether you're looking around and like, all right, well, are there native species? Is there any vegetation at all? What's the ratio of native to non-natives? Who's doing the dominating here? Is there a monoculture? Is it all one species, regardless whether it's native or not? Low diversity, even if it is just native plant, or just one species or two species, is not necessarily great for an ecosystem's total resilience. And I'll get into that when I mention emerald ash borer in a minute too. Is there a grass layer and shrubs, or is it just trees and bare ground underneath? Is there bare soil in areas? Is there major structural issues with the bank or something like that? All of that will get captured in all of these, in these categories. Now, perhaps taking a look at this one here on your left. Yeah. I was going to say, there. There it's mostly reed canary. There looks like there's some ash and hawthorn. It's fairly open. There's a little bit more cover on one side, at least sort of, from where the perspective of this photo is getting taken here. There's bare patches a little further on. This would probably, at least by my scale, I'd sort of call this sort of a 4 or a 5 or so. But then on the opposite end of it there, you've got heavy cover. I was going to say this was a site that had a lot of maples, plenty of other different variety of, conifers in there as well too. Different age classes, because there were tree trunks of really different sizes across everywhere. There's obviously complex water flow with rapids and pool, in a pool underneath it. For this one, I'd say that's easily a 9, if not much really more than a 10. But at least, what I could tell from this picture, right on the, right as this is cropped off here on the screen, maybe, I was going to say, maybe there's farming directly up to the river right there. I was going to say, but, so context matters. But within this photo, that's what I could say about it. And these are things that, it doesn't necessarily matter if I agree with you with the score, as long as internally within yourself you can sort of track these things, and whether or not you sort of look at it as a tool for, for doing sort of before and after sort of assessments on things that are on your own property or areas that you'd like to visit and and have over a number of years. This is a way that you could sort of put a little bit more quantifiable evidence behind sort of your gut feelings about how things may have changed over time. Once again, I'll just kind of bring it back here on one side here. Say the SVAP2 PDF side there is a link directly to that set of set of instructions and the full explanation of it. And then on the other side, the NRCS has publicly available an hour webinar, an entire training dedicated to this, to using this protocol. I believe it's narrated by the state biologist for Georgia. Like I said, it's a national thing, so perhaps some of the stats will look a little different if they do use a Georgia-specific one, but it'll get into much more detail on every single one of those elements and can be a really complete training, and it's just publicly available. So please, I want more people to see it. I want more people to have these skills. I would love to generate traffic off there. And then finally, as was mentioned by a couple other folks so far, Emerald Ash Borer is absolutely on its way. It has been found in Washington County. They are under a quarantine ban on plants and wood products getting moved in and out of Washington County for, with ash and a few other species that are related to them. Emerald Ash Borer does have several lookalikes. This was one particular bit of publication put out by the Oregon Department of Agriculture. We've got a couple of printouts of this one in particular in the back. ODA's website has many, many, many more as well that I don't have time to show and things like that, but plenty other ones to help identify sort of their, not only them, but the other telltale signs and stuff like that that they are out there. And that's pretty much my time, and if you are on the other side of the river and you have concerns or interest in programs that we've talked about so far or anything like that, please let us know, because we're here to help y'all on that side too. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mark. We will stay on the West Salem Polk County side of things and invite up Ken Beerley from the Glen Gibson Watershed Council. There it is. Thanks, Ken.
Thank you. I'll try to keep this rolling right along. What I'd like to do is talk to you a little bit about what's going on the west side of the river. We've got a number of projects that have been going on for some time, some fairly new. We'll start in the uplands. We're actually been involved with an oak savanna project in the uplands for quite some time, but we've done projects all around the Glen Gibson Creek watershed there on the west side of the river. So the Orchard Heights Oak Savanna is a partnership with the city of Salem. It's an unused reservoir site. It's one that we have planted with native species, had kids go out and plant acorns, which are now fairly large, 10, 15-foot oak trees. We had a great experiment last summer when it caught fire. So we're seeing the recovery from burning, and in fact, we've had, it's really incredible to see the recovery from that. It's been very effective, except for neighbor relationships. It's been used for educational purposes. We've planted milkweeds. And Willamette University students did some research on looking at recovery from fire. We haven't seen the results of that, but we do know that there's been a class out there looking at it. We've also done a demonstration again on city property. This is in Wallace Marine Park, a wonderful rain garden that's probably been used by now the unhoused, and is we've had the signs vandalized. It's part of the problem that you have working in public lands. So we will continue to try to maintain that, but once if the threat for further damage is relieved from that area. Then this should be familiar with Deborah. It's her backyard, rain garden demonstration site that was done quite some time ago. Worked recently with the Audubon Nature Reserve that's near the Safeway site. This helped them with to prevent bicyclists that were running up and down the hills. Put in some barriers, put in some large wood, had some horses logging out there to help protect the Audubon Reserve. Did some outreach about that. They use that quite a bit. One of the partnerships that we have that I think is particularly important, and there are representatives here from Salem Electric. We're in partnership with them, as well as Claggett Creek Watershed Council. They have a habitat improvement fund. So if you get your power from the Salem Electric Cooperative, you can sign up and donate. We donate regularly for the Habitat Improvement Fund. Those funds are directed to watershed councils and either the Glen Gibson Creek Watershed Council or Claggett Creek Watershed Council, and used for projects. And we've been talking earlier about riparian restoration. We did a partnership project with the City of Salem and Eola Ridge Park, and where removing blackberries, where the entire creek was covered with blackberries, and shortly after a couple of years reestablished and continuing to reestablish a riparian fringe on that. That was planted in cooperation with the Friends of Trees, and has had great success. We haven't had the blackberries come back, so it's really a good partnership effort. And again, the Watershed Council has partnered with Salem Parks, Friends of Trees, and other planting projects. This is another community city park there in Salem. We've also done quite a bit of partnership in developing pollinator gardens for in parks in West Salem. We've also joined the fight with invasives. I'm getting too old to pull blackberries, but we did a lot of that early on. It seems like it's a never-ending battle. We also, as a Watershed Council, we've been engaged in conversations with the city on policy, flood management policy, public awareness about issues that have come up in the community, advice and support on master planning that the city has done, both for Minnow Brown Island Conservation Area, Gale Ackerman Wildlife Area, which is outside the city, and have been an advocate for and trying to, and have been partnering with both Straub Middle School, Calapooia Elementary School, and West Salem High School that are all in our neighborhood, that we try to work with them. The science club at the high school has helped with some of the done work on the Oak Savannah because it's very close by. Have got them, tried to get them engaged in other efforts. Our most recent effort is, again, another partnership with the City of Salem. We're working on a floodplain species assessment, looking at the relationship between endangered species and floodplains in the city. Again, this is an effort to provide better information for people who have properties develop the floodplains, and try to protect make sure that they're aware of the protections for species that occur in those floodplains. And that gives credit that could give additional credit for the floodplain management program, that the rating system that could reduce costs for flood insurance. So there's continuing efforts. We will continue to work in the West Salem area as long as we hang out here. And we'll continue with these kinds of projects. And if you're interested, we would be glad to have more people engaged with us. And we really appreciate the opportunity to partner with the city of Salem. We'd partner with Portland if we could get up there. But we really do appreciate the opportunities that are provided by the city of Salem. The Oak Savannah has been a long-term, close to a 20-year partnership. We're just hoping they don't sell that property, but it is an area that is fairly significant, and we're looking forward to completing the work on the floodplain species assessment, and we'll continue to work in the parks for establishment of pollinator gardens. With that, I'm between you and getting away.
Okay, rounding us out today is our last presentation, which is going back to our east side of the river into North Salem and into Kaiser. We have Jeff and Mark with the Claggett Creek Watershed Council. Thank you, fellas.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Luke. Hi, I'm Mark Kelly with the Claggett Creek Watershed Council. Been associated with the council since about 2008, when it was reemerged after its formation in 1997 by a McNary High School science teacher. One of the main points we wanted to bring out tonight is a lot of folks are unaware of the size of the Claggett Creek Watershed Council. Our area of operation includes, we're mainly been operating in Kaiser, but we've had projects in Kaiser, Salem, and also Greater Marion County, unincorporated Marion County. Claggett Creek really kind of starts out by the Willamette Town Center and McKay High School. Most of it is underground until it gets on this side of the freeway, on the west side of the freeway, and makes its way through Kaiser and eventually to Clear Lake and out in the Willamette River. So it's quite a large area. Our major problem is water temperature, which is primarily a major problem of most urban streams. And so we focus mainly on trying to do projects that cool the water. The last several years, last 3 years, we've been pretty much just doing maintenance work, but we are now open for partners and projects. So if you know of somebody that lives in or along Claggett Creek and wants some help, they can find us on Facebook is the best way to locate us. And because we partner a lot with Kaiser, with Marion County, with Salem, Marion Soil and Water Conservation District. And so we have a couple projects in mind, but we're looking specifically for projects for planting and doing cooling projects along Claggett Creek. We have a couple of events coming up. This Thursday at 6 o'clock at Kaiser City Civic Center, we will have our general meeting for the month. Any and all are welcome. And we also have 3 board positions open at the present time. So if you are interested, particularly if you're students, high school, college, student, people of all ages are all welcome at for the Claggett Creek Watershed Council. We also have a major event coming up Saturday. Normally we talk to people about, well, if it snows, you're not going to, we're still going to do this. That's not going to be a problem this Saturday. Sunscreen would be a good idea. We need about 100 people. We usually get about 100, but I'm a little worried about this year because it's going to be so nice out, folks may forget about us. But every year for the last 14 years, we have done a community center cleanup in Kaiser at the Civic Center. And we pick up and trimmings at about 30 cubic yards is what we do in about 3 hours. And if we have 100 people, we get it done. If we don't have 100 people, that takes a little longer. So if you're looking for something to do, it's nice, friendly, easy work, lots of people to talk to. It's a really good time. We have some refreshments and such. And so 9 o'clock on Shamawa Road, Kaiser Civic Center, 9 to about noon, we'll be out there working. And we invite all of you to attend. Jeff?
So I'm on the Claggett Creek Watershed Council, but alternatively, I'm also the president of Salem Electric Co-op. Are there any Salem Electric members here tonight? You have, and Ken just alluded to that, we have out on the table out here, the Salem Electric Habitat Monthly Donation Form where you can, the Habitat Improvement Monthly Donation Form Salem Electric uses, that if you want to add $1, $2, $5, $10 a month, tax deductible, you could put it onto this form, and it would add that as a monthly to your utility bill from the membership. And then if you're in Polk County, half of our members are in Polk County, half are in Marion County. Everything that goes to Polk County goes to the Gibson-Glen Creek Watershed Council. Everything on the Marion County side goes to the Claggett Creek Watershed Council. It gives them monthly resources that they're able to buy plants, trees, things to further the projects of the watershed councils. And it's a really good program. We set up at Kaiser Fest in August. Salem Electric sponsored with Claggett Creek a booth, and we signed up members of Salem Electric on this forum, and we raised, it's the first time we actually kind of really pressed it, but we got the equivalent of about $97 a month new money going to provide for that council additional resources. So I encourage you, whether you're in Polk County or in Marion County, take one of those forms, and whatever you feel that you can do to help out the cause, this will help. Because in many cases, we at Claggett Creek seem to normally, not good sunshine weather, but normally get a lot of volunteers. We're usually resource strapped. And so this gives us a leg up, and it really partners with Salem Electric, our effort to give back and be part of the solution in terms of water, because Salem Electric is 85% water energy based. An interesting note, when I say half of the members of Salem Electric are in Marion County, do you know where they're at? Southern half of Kaiser is Salem Electric. The heart of downtown Salem is Salem Electric. And also the Salem Industrial Park is Salem Electric, and the Northgate neighborhood is also Salem Electric, which is, if you look at the Claggett Creek watershed streams, we border right along all of that. So we want to be part of the solution and encourage you to participate in this. And I've spent years with Mark and others on the council pulling bicycles originally out of the streams to planting trees and trying to kill invasive grass. And just this last year in one of our projects, we had to use it, and this is, to me, remarkable, to take ivy off of a tree, we had to use a chainsaw. It was literally that thick at the base. Just something you don't think about. So there's a lot of work to do. We love volunteers, and please do support this program.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much to our Claggett Creek Watershed Council, our Glen Gibson Watershed Council, our Marion and Polk Soil Water Conservation Districts. That's everybody. So I just want to say to end tonight, I hope that all of the partnerships and different agencies, nonprofits, and different organizations, public works staff that are here, it really takes a village for us to care for our natural resources in the city of Salem. But it also takes all of the folks that are here today from our community, our streamside landowners. It takes all of us working together to get these good projects on the ground and make a big change for the health of our streams and the health of our community. So I invite folks to take a bathroom break if you need. We'll have folks in the hallway for a little bit. Some of the staff members might have to go, just depending on timing, but we'll try to make ourselves available for as long as we can in the back. And just want to say thank you again.